applications. Okay. AJAX is used for development of featured rich dynamic web applications and to collect the data at server side. The example of AJAX is you can say the state of a button, like like, unlike on Facebook. Sometimes some specific window appears on the page and disappears. So those things are designed in AJAX. Actually it is useful. Why AJAX? Because it is useful to design very dynamic and rich internet applications. But other hand, it is not recommended to use because few things. It has its merits and demerits. Okay, so why not AJAX? Okay, AJAX will not work in all the web browsers, especially the lower versions of the browsers. And AJAX tends to update the elements or manipulate the specific information without the consent of users, or on the fly it makes changes, and sometimes the users, especially the novice users, have some difficulties, or they are get confused. AJAX also submit information to the server without consent of users. I mean, it happens only when we code that way, but usually it happens when usually people use for the same purpose. So that's why it is not actually recommended to use AJAX, but people use it for designing rich internet applications. So challenges what people can face due to use of AJAX can be eliminated through ARIA. So ARIA means accessible rich internet applications, and it is a protocol for scripting languages. It is a special support for scripting languages. Okay, so it is used for providing the keyboard accessibility especially, and making widgets accessible, complex widgets accessible, like your drag and drop, tooltip, slider, then your pop-up menus, okay, and tree menus, then runtime searches, your live regions. So all these things you can make accessible through ARIA protocols. So ARIA protocols is nothing but additional support for scripting to general scripting languages like JavaScript and AJAX, or you can say the PHP, okay, or even your .NET, ASP.NET kind of things. So if the keyboard accessibility cannot be given through the native language in which the application is designed, then you can use, or you can import some attributes from ARIA. So ARIA has certain attributes, certain role, state and properties. Who has designed this ARIA? W3C, World Wide Web Consortium, has designed this ARIA protocol, and its version is now 1.1. Earlier it had 1.0 version. The available document landmark roles are banner, okay, name of a website, logo, title that covers a part of a main website, okay, or part of a website called as a banner. Navigation, the navigation, main content, main content of the website. Search, so search, then you have the article region. Article means suppose there is an article, so you can put article region, okay, like in blogs. Content info means the footer region of the website, okay. So this way the page can be classified into 6-7 parts, like the banner, which covers the title and main page, main name of the website, logo. Then the navigation, okay. Then the main content, search, complementary content, and content info on the footer side. I mean, footer can be called as a content info. And ARIA role can be given to these sections as footer landmark, then banner landmark, then navigation landmark, this way, so that the users, especially the screen reader users, can get idea. Then ARIA roles and role states and properties. So role means the screen reader recognizes special kind of the specific or limited controls, like combo box, list box, check box, and radio buttons, links, buttons kind of controls. And if the complex widget comes, then screen reader may get confused, and that's why we can give the role of these recognized widgets to the complex widgets through ARIA. Okay, so ARIA role is like that. Then ARIA state. So state and properties means, the state means what? The status of the button, like whether it is active or inactive. Then button, the status of a button, then your visited link or not visited link, okay. Then your selected item or not selected, checked button, radio button or unchecked, okay, check boxes checked or unchecked. So that is a state, okay. So state, we can use it for the things which do not get keyboard support. Properties, then there are several ARIA properties available for providing the special keyboard support. So we will see one by one properties. So we can also classify the state and properties like supported, inherited, and global. Supported means the property that supports only that particular widget. The inherited means the property which can be inherited in the similar widgets across the website. And the global properties means the properties which are supported by host scripting language. Okay, so tab index is used to manage the focus from jumping one widget to another widget. So you can set tab index equals 0 or whatever the value you want. So active descendant is a property which you can manage for providing the focus to widget children, like suppose select states, okay, or select city, then city like Agartala, Agra, okay, this way you can select Ahmedabad, okay. So all these cities you can select when the keyboard focus goes there, means the keyboard focus goes to widget, but widget children cannot be read, okay, means all the elements of the combo boxes cannot be read. And how we can provide support when we have suppose it is not widget focus is, widget children is not getting focus, then you can use this property, okay, to provide widget children focus to widget children, keyboard focus or keyboard access. So active descendant is a property that you can use in your coding, just a small piece of a code, and that will make your combo box or drop down accessible. So you can use current value of specific widgets here. So value no and max kind of things you can use for specific providing specific values, means the providing the state of the widget, like whether it is active, whether it is inactive. So dynamic content update, okay. So for dynamic content update, like suppose you are on a Facebook and you are suppose there is a person or user who is with visual impairment, and that person is updating the Facebook status, and simultaneously somebody is trying to chat with that person, and simultaneously somebody is updating the photographs, okay, and that is being reflected on his wall. Then again a fourth thing simultaneously comes, like the battery is discharged, okay, and it is giving an alert that you will have to connect to the power. So these four things, how screen reader will manage. Suppose you are a person, you can decide what is to be read and what is not to be read, but the visually impaired people, they totally dependent on the screen reader, how screen reader reads and how screen reader prioritize the things. So if 3-4 things are happening simultaneously, what kind of priority to be given to the screen reader? Because screen reader cannot decide priority its own unless we program to the screen reader. Okay. So we are not programming, we are not making coding changes in screen reader, but we are making certain changes in the application so that the screen reader will have support for the priority if 3-4 things are happening simultaneously. So suppose the status update, if I am updating my Facebook status and screen reader is announcing everything what I am typing there in the text field, simultaneously somebody is has pinged me for the chat, okay, and simultaneously somebody is updating the photographs and that is being reflected on my wall. So what is to be read? I can decide, but I cannot switch over because it is dependent on the screen reader. So what happens? If screen reader will read all 4 things, then it will be chaos. So how to manage this interactive featured rich dynamic web applications? So this property you can use, like the off, polite, assertive and rude. So suppose battery is discharged, battery of a laptop is discharged, okay, and it has given alert. So what kind of property we can use here? What kind of priority we should give? Assertive, polite, or rude? Huh? Yes? Huh? What do you think? Developers?
Assertive.
It should be rude. So what do you mean by assertive? What do you mean by rude? I will tell you. Off means what? It will not, even convey what is happening on other side. If I am updating my status, it will not convey anything else. Okay. Second, polite means a noise will, a sound will occur. A sound will be given a pop that somebody is trying to update. Somebody is trying to talk with you. Okay, chat with you, like tidding something sound. Okay, that is what polite means. My control remains there only in the text field where I am updating my Facebook status. But again, a voice will, I will hear a voice and I will understand that somebody is trying to chat with me. That is polite. Assertive means what? Suppose we have given the chat as an assertive. Then instead of making noise, it will read the message. But the control will remain in the text field only. Text field means where I am updating my status. So rude means what? The focus directly goes to the dialog box of alert things, like change the battery and close the laptop, something, or this way. That is rude means rudely it takes the focus to that particular dialog box, which is prompting that whether you either you plug to the power connection or turn off the computer. So which priority is to be given then for alert message? So it should be given rude priority if it is high priority. Rude if it is on high priority, and assertive if it is on the second most higher priority. Polite if it is the third most higher priority, and off if it is not very important. So this way the screen reader will make a decision what is to be read and what is not to be read, because screen reader has its own intelligence and it is not as intelligent as we are, and that's why we should decide the priority for the screen reader. So this is what the things we can use for ARIA. These are several properties they have provided, more than 100 properties they have. They have a library of accessible widgets. Okay, they have a library of some attributes code, piece of code that you can incorporate in your coding and make your complex widgets accessible for everyone. And ARIA is supported by almost all the language. Now you can use for require. Here instead of star you can use this property to provide required feature. ARIA cannot solve all the accessibility issues, but it can make almost all things accessible. Dynamic things accessible. But you will have to think about the ARIA, you will have to learn ARIA and all the roles, states and properties. similar to jQuery, the ARIA also has the library of accessible widgets. Like suppose you want accessible date picker, you can find out. It might be designed in native language, or ARIA property can also be used in that. So this is about ARIA. So any questions, please?